UFC Fight Night London, EVLOEV vs. Murphy just concluded, and I'm here to give you my breakdown over the entire card. Went 9-4 this card. Had a couple of fights that, I thought probably went the other direction, but it is what it is. Let's start with the early prelim opener of Chanel Dyer versus Ravina Oliveira. I had Dyer winning this fight, and she did. I mean, it was a solid finish for a WMMA fighter. She looks very comfortable on the feet. She just seemed much more experienced, much more at ease in the octagon, and yeah, I mean, she hit her with a straight right that wobbled her, and then head kicked her, and then followed up with ground and pound on the fence when she was kind of up against the fence there. I mean, this was a pretty solid WMMA fight. Obviously there's a finish, and you don't get that too often. So, big ups, Chanel Dyer. We had her to get it done, and she did. Next up the card, we got Shamrock versus Abdul Selwadi. We had Shamrock to get this one done. He did not. He looked decent in the first round. He landed a big head kick and then kind of tried to rush in there and get the finish and got dumped very bad and didn't really do shit else the rest of the fight. Selwadi pretty much just stayed in control for the next, 13 minutes, whatever it was. Shamrock kept trying to touch gloves at the beginning of every round, and Selwadi kept saying no. And at the end, Rock tried to touch gloves, and Selwadi was like, no, fuck you, man. And Rock kind of smacked him upside the face. Then Selwadi swung on him, and then they got separated. And during the decision, they did end up shaking hands. Did not seem like Selwadi wanted to, but he did. And I mean, Rock didn't look very good in this fight. Like I said, he looked decent for the first minute and a half, 2 minutes of the fight probably. And then once he got dropped, he didn't really do anything else. He threw some pitter-patter shots for sure, but he wasn't trying to end this fight, in my opinion. He wasn't really trying to win this fight. He was just trying to survive this fight, it felt like. But good job, Selwadi. He got this one done. Next up the card, we had Louis Sutherland versus Brando Perrick. I had Louis to get it done. He did not. Both of these guys were throwing big shots, but neither of them were really landing anything. Neither of them were really hitting each other until the TKO. Louis kept shooting takedowns. He wasn't really getting them. He would just kind of, get Brando up against the fence, and then they'd separate. And it just wasn't really a very they weren't good takedowns. Wasn't very high level grappling shown by Louis Sutherland there. It was a nasty uppercut, I believe, that finally put Sutherland down, and then he kind of just shelled up. It wasn't a true knockout, but he just shelled up, accepted defeat, and yeah, good job, Brando. He got this one done. Next up the card, we had Montas Contravicius versus Antonio Tricoli. Montas pretty well just put belt to ass the entire fight. Tricoli, he finally got a little something going there in the third. It definitely wasn't enough. Montas looked solid. But then again, he was fighting Antonio Tricoli, so take that with a grain of salt. But, I mean, Montas looked very, not very skilled, but he definitely looked like a solid fighter on the feet. And he looked decent in his grappling defense. Tricoli kept trying to kind of get that body lock on him or get a trip or a throw, and it didn't really happen. Montas definitely needs to work on his gas tank for tougher opponents, so anybody tougher than Antonio Tricoli will probably start giving him issues. He gassed out in the third. Obviously he won the first two, so it wasn't like a huge deal. But against someone who's tougher and just a better fighter than Antonio, that might be an issue, and they might end up catching you and being able to finish you in the third. So I'd like to see him work on his cardio and gas tank a little bit more, but good job getting the win. Next up, we got Mario Pinto versus Felipe Franco. Mario got this one done by decision. He really wanted that takedown in the second and third. Didn't end up getting it. They kind of just pretty much just stayed clinched up, and Mario was just hammering the body of Franco. Franco wasn't really doing much to defend his body at all in this fight. There would be times where they'd get in the clinch and Pinto would throw 5 or 6 unanswered knees just right into the gut. Or they were standing there and Pinto literally threw like 8 punches, 8 uppercuts right into the gut, and Franco did nothing until finally the 8th or 9th one, and he moved a little bit, stopped him. I mean, not a super exciting heavyweight bout, but I guess it is what it is. Yeah, Pinto got this one done by decision. Next up the card, we had Nathaniel Wood versus Losing Kieta. We had Nathaniel Wood to get this one done, and he did in a very, very close split decision. I do believe he did enough to get it done. People forget, man. Those calf kicks, they can hurt a fella. The calf kicks really did some damage to Kieta in this fight. You could tell he was trying to hide it, and he was hiding it fairly well. He's kind of a bouncy guy, so him kind of bouncing around to alleviate the pain didn't look out of the ordinary. But you could tell, he'd take one in the calf and he'd give out a little wince, and you could tell that he was not enjoying them. But I mean, Wood did enough to get this one done, I believe. He was very defensively sound towards the end of the fight. In the beginning, of the rounds, even, Kieta would kind of land on him, and then towards the end of the rounds, and towards the end of the fight especially, he would end up being more defensively sound, shelling up, blocking more shots, kind of moving his head a little bit better. But he got this one done in a split decision on his home turf. Big ups, Nathaniel Wood. Next up the card. Ooh, it did get fight of the night. Congratulations. This was a sick fight. This was a certified hood classic, may I say. Mason Jones versus Axel Sola. We had Jones getting this one done, and he did. He got cracked with a spinning elbow early. I want to say it was the first round, but it might have been early second round. And then he just had that dog in him. Just pulled it out. Got cracked early, got dumped, and then he just kept on fighting. They ended up getting in a clinch, and Jones kneed Sola, opened up a big cut on his right eye, and all right. So in my notes, I gave Sola the first round, so it must have been the first round that he cracked Mason Jones with the spinning elbow. Last 2 rounds were definitely Mason Jones, though. Yeah, I mean, this was just a sick fight. This was 100% deserving of fight of the night bonus. Give both these guys $100K. Give them more. I don't care if they fight like this again. Give them 10 times the amount. You know what I mean? But yeah, we had Mason Jones getting this one done, and he did by unanimous decision. Off of the prelims and onto the main card, we had Curtis Campbell versus Danny Silva. What did I tell you? Danny Silva rained on Campbell's parade, and it was glorious. It felt like 1776 all over again. Silva had solid takedown defense, it looked like. Some of Campbell's wins are a little questionable on his record, so we're not too sure about him yet. But, Silva looked good against him. His takedown defense was solid. When it did go to the ground, he was competent enough not to get subbed, and that's exactly what I said was going to happen. I think Campbell had his back, or had him in a position to almost have his back, early in the first, and then in the second round, towards the end of the first and early second round, obviously, only 30 seconds in, Silva really turned on his boxing, and his hands were just much better than Campbell. He dumped Campbell a couple of times, and then ended up finding the chin, dumping him again, and the ref stepped in and called the fight. But there's a little underdog pick I had, and he got it done. You guys really you really got to start having faith in me. Danny Silva got this one done by KO. Next up, we had Roman Dolidze versus Christian Leroy Duncan. We had Duncan getting this one done, and he did. He won the first 2 fairly clearly, I felt, and then in the third round, Dolidze had his back for roughly half the round, a couple of minutes at least. Dolidze had CLD's back. And then the fight ended, and Dolidze was acting like he won. And then during the decision, he acted all surprised that he didn't get the decision. And it's like, dude, you literally did nothing for the entire first 2 rounds, and then you got lucky. You fluked a back take and had a body triangle on his back for 2 or 3 minutes, On the feet, Duncan looked good. Dolidze kept kind of rolling for the leg on the feet, but he was doing it. It looked like he was getting dropped almost. Christian would come in with a 2 or 3 piece combo, and on the second or third shot, Dolidze would drop and almost like Granby roll for the leg. Try to set up like a heel hook or something. But it was on that last shot, so it looked like the power shot was connecting and dumping him, and then he was just happening to recover and grab the feet. So that was kind of a weird decision by him. But, we had CLD to get this one done, and he did. What more can you ask for? He did his job. Big ups to him. Next up the card, we have Iwo Baranowski versus Austin Lane. Nasty KO. Highly foreseeable. Austin Lane does not have a chain. It's proven now. It was not just a heavyweight issue. It is a Austin Lane no chin issue. Excuse me. But, I mean, Iwo is good. I do think he will be a problem for this division. He threw a beautiful overhand right that kind of knocked Lane's head into a left hook that he followed up with. And, I mean, it just put him down. And then there were some follow-up shots on the ground that Baranowski followed up with, I believe they were just like hammer fists. There might have been a couple of elbows, but they're just kind of like the hammer fist down. And Austin Lane should probably get cut after this fight, or he probably will get cut after this fight. Yeah, he's just not a high level. He's not a high level fighter. And granted, Iwo is good. He does have big power. I can't think of anybody that Lane should fight next that he would have a chance at winning. So this might be the last we saw of Austin Lane. But we had Iwo getting it done, and he did. Next up the card. This was such a bullshit fight. This was so boring. 15 minutes, he landed 33 strikes. Are you kidding me? He landed like 5 punches in the first round. I'm so done with Michael Venom Page. Yeah, you know what? Actually, we're not saying Venom anymore. It's just Michael Page. Just Mr. Page, even. This guy is boring. This guy is a snooze fest of a fighter, and I'm tired of pretending he's not. He did not engage whatsoever. It does take two to tango. Sam Patterson could have tried to engage more, for sure. This is on both of them. This was a boring fight. This was a terrible fight to watch. I feel dumber having watched this fight. You know what I mean? This was just, yeah. Cut, Michael. Cut Mr. Page. Give Patterson one more shot, and if he doesn't turn around, cut him too, because that was just a dog shit performance. Michael Page got this one done by unanimous decision. Next up the card, we had Luke Riley versus Michael Aswell Jr. We chose Luke Riley to get this one done, and he did. I thought he was going to clip Aswell, find his chin and put him down, but Aswell's a pretty tough guy. It was a dominant win for Luke Riley. He is a slow starter. I think it was like 2.5, 3 minutes into the fight before he really started connecting on the feet. And he is a striker. I think he spent a lot of time in Thailand as a child or a young man, I guess, and really developed a striking game. But Aswell looked solid. This was a dominant performance, though. Aswell, if you look at the striking numbers here, they're fairly close. But Riley was really hitting Aswell with some big power shots. The power was really the difference here. Aswell was still hitting Riley, but just not with the same level of oomph that Luke was hitting Aswell with. So, the judges saw it to Luke Riley, and I would have to agree with them. Now, we got the main event. Movsar EVLOEV versus Lerone Murphy. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I thought Lerone won. I could have been a little biased because I did choose him to win. It was one of those things where, like, I knew it was a close fight, but I felt with the point deduction, I felt Murphy did enough to win this fight, and evidently not. The judges felt otherwise. They gave it to Movsar. I felt like Lerone did enough. I thought he did good on the feet. He did get cut, but he also gave Movsar a big black eye. I thought Murphy won the first three, honestly, and then the fourth and fifth, Movsar really did turn it on, and started striking a lot more. That is one thing I was pleasantly surprised about, is Movsar didn't really rely on his wrestling a whole lot. He did go out there and kind of just throw strikes with Murphy here. He did try and take Murphy down, but every time he got taken down, he just popped right back up. So I don't know how good Murphy's ability not to be held down is, or if Movsar is just not good at holding people down. But that I was very surprised to see Movsar just not be able to hold Murphy down. I mean, every time he got taken down, he kind of just popped right back up to his feet. Bladed his stance, worked the hands, split him off, and then turned into him. But according to the judges, Movsar got this one done. Yeah, we were across the pond in London. We're back in the motherland next weekend. UFC Seattle. Gonna be a banger card. Got a little something special for next weekend planned. A little surprise for you guys. So stay tuned for that. But UFC Fight Night London. EVLOEV versus Murphy. That was the entire breakdown over the card. Thank you guys for watching. This has been Wheezy MMA. I'm Wheezy, and I'm out. Have a good one.